What is up, friends? Like last year, I'm going to go through and take a close look at all of Big Mouth Season 3's new monsters, but before we start, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for all of my Big Mouth analysis. Spoilers for Season 3 ahead. Now, unlike last year, the monsters really took a backseat to the kids in the stories in Season 3. We really only got a couple of new monsters, but they were definitely fascinating additions to the lineup. First, let's look back at all of the older monsters we've seen before that made appearances this year. Obviously, we got a ton of Maury and Connie, as always. Connie has been particularly interesting this season as we now see he's working with both Jesse and Nick. It was particularly fun to see her run double duty when Nick and Jesse were actually interacting with each other. In addition to Maury and Connie, we got a couple little cameos from Rick, but nothing major, mostly just for joke punchlines. Interestingly, we didn't see any Gavin or Tyler hormone monsters introduced in Season 2, but we did get an incredible new hormone monstress named Moana. I'll cover her a little bit later in the video. We also saw a cameo from the Shame Wizard who played a major role in Season 2, and I do wish we had seen more of him this season. I'm glad he popped up, but it was really just for a joke about his Nazi dildo collection. We didn't really get much in terms of shame commentary this year, although I guess you could probably argue that he was there because Andrew was at a neo-Nazi rally without realizing it, and that's a pretty shameful thing to do. And lastly, the other Season 2 monster who made another appearance was the Depression Katy, one of my favorite monster emotion representations. It was really cool to see the Depression Katy return to Jesse's story, even though she felt like she kicked depression to the curb at the end of Season 2. This is a really smart and effective breakdown of how depressive episodes can pop up in our lives depending on the circumstances. The standardized testing and her mother's expectations sent Jesse into a depressive spiral, and it also shows how depression is something that people have ongoing battles with. It's not something you can just get rid of. Now, jumping back to Moana, Missy's amazing new hormone monstress, or hormone mistress as they like to call her. Moana definitely fits the bill for hormone monsters as she exacerbates Missy's boiling emotions and talks her into taking more risks and expressing herself more openly. I love that this is the monster they chose for Missy because I think it means we're going to see a major evolution for Missy going into Season 4. I'm convinced that Mona's presence is going to spark a storm in Missy that leads to her completely reinventing herself going into 8th grade. On top of this, Moana seems to actually be the most chaotic hormone monster we've seen in action. Even Connie is disturbed by some of her behaviors and antics, which is saying a lot because Connie is nuts. These inner hormone monster relationships are another interesting aspect of the series that I want to see explored more in future seasons. Hormone monsters are obviously doing a job, so it makes sense that they wouldn't all do the job the same way. We see this firsthand now that Nick has had 3 monsters, Rick, Tyler, and Connie, but I would really like to see how the relationships between monsters can affect the kids. We've known that Connie and Maury have a history, but showcasing a more antagonistic or conflicting relationship between monsters could be fascinating to showcase. The one brand new monster we saw this season was the Menopause Banshee, who is exactly what she sounds like, a terrifying old witchy banshee lady that represents menopause. Andrew's mom Barbara gets a visit from this monster, and we see that it can be a scary thing to deal with. Ultimately, when Barbara accepts that banshee as part of her life, they work in sync and unleash a new attitude and ability to express herself that Barbara previously hadn't possessed. I think this was a super cool way to represent menopause. It's not presented as a horrible thing women have to go through, it's just represented as a scary change that can ultimately lead to a new attitude and lifestyle. As I say constantly, the show just does an incredible job showcasing these major life changes in effective metaphorical ways. And that's all of the emotion-based monsters that were showcased in Season 3 of Big Mouth. There was a lot fewer instances than there were in the last season, but there were still some really great additions to the lineup. On top of this, it's been revealed that Big Mouth is actually getting a monster-centric spin-off called Human Resources. It looks like the show will take place in the monster world and really showcase the inner workings of the monster society. I imagine they're saving a lot of their monster-based metaphors to play a big role in this show, which is smart because you definitely want Big Mouth to focus on the kids first and foremost. I cannot wait to see what they cook up for us. Hopefully we'll learn more about Human Resources soon. And that's where I want to pass it off to you. How did you like the new monster introductions in Season 3? Did you wish there were more monsters, or you're glad that they're going to leave those for the spin-off series? Let me know below in the comments. And if you like this video, do not forget to comment, like, subscribe, and stay tuned for all sorts of cartoon reviews and analysis. Peace.
Johnny to Cellos.